part, which is item 17, Roman numeral 17, which is public comment in accordance with section 29-1 of the Code of the Borough of Raritan. There should be a 5-minute limit per speak. Would anyone like to speak? This one. Yes, Mrs. Nelson, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. How about you? I just have a couple of questions about the 401 Tillman and 413.
Yeah, you just want to give your name and address so they can put it down.
Oh, Joan Nelson, 410 Raritan Avenue.
Sorry, that's what they how it rules are.
You said there was 30 days out from today before the demolition of 401 Tillman. I'm just looking for a time frame of when the demolition would start on 401
I don't
Tillman.
think you said it that way, but yes.
Right, so
It's,
the statute provides that in order for demolition, you can't take effect for 30 days. So that's what the order is gonna say, 30 days out from today is the earliest that we can actually effectuate the demolition of the property. During that time, you have to do a second reading on the capital surplus ordinance in order to provide funding, get quotes, and so, candidly, it's probably gonna be closer to 45, 60 days, with soup to nuts.
Okay. So that's just like your estimate of when it would be demolished.
Right,
Yeah.
30 days is the earliest that the order can provide for a date of demolition.
yeah.
Okay, and my other thing about 413 Raritan Avenue, I just want to thank the mayor for his prompt response to my initial email on August 26th and all the work he's been doing with having people and exterminators go to the property and for always updating me. I really appreciate that because it's been a big problem for everybody in that neighborhood. You had 401 Tillman and then 413 Raritan Avenue. And I really appreciate all the work you've done.
I just want to let you know that Dan Jaxel, Bobby Fulamonte, the Department of Public Works,
Thank you.
Council President Kara, in my absence, Mr. Councilman McGinley was there, as you may know. And in essence, really what it is that there are many people behind the scenes that are trying to get this done. There's the Gara, Mr. Tadeo also. And so if you want to say it's a team effort, this is absolutely a multifaceted team effort on many levels. And so I appreciate your comments, but I think they were misdirected or too narrowly directed.
Well, I would like to thank you all then, because it's been very upsetting. So I would like to thank you all for all your
Thank
help
you,
with this.
thank you. And we do still have more work to do, and we're continuing at an appropriate pace to do that, even though I'm sure it's frustrating being in a neighborhood. But as I said to you on more than one occasion, two things. One, it wasn't created in one day, and it's not going to be resolved in one day. And two, it's sort of like swatting a hornet's nest, and we don't know how many hornets are in the nest.
There's a lot.
So, well, unfortunately, that's becoming to be apparent reality, but we're pressing on, I promise you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes?
Nancy Darla, 421B Raritan Avenue, and I talked to the Board of Health this morning. They said they were going to get in touch with you, Dan. I don't know if they did.
The County Board of Health?
Yes, we now have rats in our
Yes.
backyard too.
Yes.
So,
The problem, and we've talked about this, the problem is that when you disrupt, much like a hornet's nest, when you disrupt it,
right.
and I believe, and Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, that the people who put out the bait or traps or whatever expanded the area where they originally were just confined. Frankly, it was hard to get access to the property because it was,
They're welcome
well, you know.
access to my property.
They
Yeah.
didn't expand anything.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
They didn't expand anything, Your Honor. They might be planning to, but he only been there one time in a month. Today he came,
No, today,
that was his second time there.
yeah, the issue was, I think it's 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, but I'm not 100% sure, that he was there for the first time.
Yeah.
And that was before Public Works got in there, because Public Works was in there, as you well know, with chainsaws and with chippers, so they could get through the brush. And when they essentially got into that, it provided the opportunity for the company to essentially check their traps, which were empty in terms of bait, to put more traps in there. And I know I saw correspondence, but I'm not physically on site, is that they were going to expand the geography of that. Personally, I read it, but I don't know personally if it was done, but that was the intention, okay?
We spoke with him today, And he said that that was the plan, to expand the traps and the poison. But it hasn't been done yet, I just wanna make that clear.
All right, well, Mr.
I'm
Jackson.
sorry that I,
No, no, that's fine, and we'll have a conversation with Mr. Humphrey's group tomorrow, or whoever they are. And, because the fact of the matter is, from the DPW, who has been right in the thick of it, they're saying there's an awful lot of activity.
Yes, there is.
Now that they've opened it up, and I, again, equate it to the hornet's nest.
Yeah.
And as I said to Mrs. Nelson some time ago, unfortunately, it's gonna get a little bit more tough before it gets better. But in essence, we're diligently moving on multiple fronts. And as I said, it wasn't created in a day, or a week, or a month, or a year. And we're doing our best. And frankly, when Mrs. Nelson first contacted me, I responded that it was the 401 property, and she corrected me, and so this is history. Okay, anyone else?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hi, John Nelson, 410 Raritan Avenue. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity, Mr. Mayor and council members. I'm just here to try and reiterate the urgency of what we have just been speaking about. You know, I appreciate the concern of the council and everything that's been done, but I don't think the urgency has really hit home. You know, the whole block is gonna be infested.
I understand.
It's happening right now as we speak. I just don't see the, you know, urgency. Like I said, the exterminator was there 2 weeks ago, and he
Right.
came today. It's the second time only.
Well, I'm not an extermination person, but I'll tell you the following, all right? We put the exterminator there first to provide some level of safety for the men who were on site, as I described.
Yeah.
Then they, basically what I'll say, rattled the hornet's nest. And they have various descriptions of what is back there. And that prompted us to get the the exterminator people back out. There is, obviously, no one wants to live across the street, next to, down the street, or any, from this situation, all right? The reality is, we can't get our men back in there with the number of rodents because they said it was just too many to work. So we had to bring this guy back, all right? They doubled the bait. I don't know how many traps they had. It doesn't matter.
Told me he was gonna double the traps also. Yeah.
There is an urgency, there is a safety, and as I've explained, there also are legal matters that I think are very important. And I can tell you that we're progressing with an urgency, that I can tell you that every day I'm on the phone with Dan, I'm on the phone with the Department of Public Works in terms of the things that we can do. And if you recall that this sprung on Labor Day weekend, and so we had a Monday, which was a holiday. So therefore, Monday's garbage was Tuesday's, Tuesday's garbage was Wednesday's, Wednesday's garbage was Thursday, and then Friday was bulk. Notwithstanding that, Public Works went over there, because the 4 a.m. shift went over there, so I'm giving you urgency. After they came in, they did their 4 o'clock in the morning to whenever. They were across the street, I said to your wife at 11, they were there at 10.
I watched them, Your Honor.
Yeah, no, I understand. So I'm trying to suggest that there is an urgency for these men to essentially work that period of time, and then essentially the borough to bring them to that site to do very unpleasant work after working a full day. I'm just trying to tell you that I have respect for those people doing that, but I also want to tell you that's part of the urgency, all right? For these gentlemen to go back, we had to put in more bait because there was just too many.
Yeah, I know.
And I know you know it, but you can't get in there until you control the population. And the reason the gentleman was there, and I thought he was gonna be there earlier, but he got there whenever he got there. We don't, you know, he's our subcontractor or whatever, Humphreys or whoever. But when that bait starts to work, we're back in there. And so, in essence, the DPW is not to essentially be engaged in trying to, I wouldn't know how you do it, but to catch a rodent, they're trying to clean up the place and pull out the material. But they can't pull out the material until we've begun to control it.
Yeah.
So there is an urgency, but getting the person out there, the bait being taken, the bait for it to work, as I understand it, does take time, so it may look from across the street or down the corner that there's no urgency, but as soon as we can get back in there, we get back in there. And in addition, over the 4th of Labor Day weekend, the DPW did have personnel riding down your street, because I was very concerned, and I mentioned it to your wife, about dead rats being over there and the shock value to children, let alone the safety issue. And on their own time, over the Labor Day weekend, they went down there to pick up any rodents that were going to be present because of the bait. And so what I would try to suggest to you is the following. I'm sure you're frustrated as this council is, and I think the DPW, and I will tell you that there is an urgency. Mr. Winter knows there's an urgency. Multiple times a day I talk to him. I've talked to other political people who have involved themselves in this, trying to get a coordinated response that is comprehensive. So I promise you there is an urgency. However, an urgency in your mind is going to be that someone's there doing something every moment. And an urgency in my mind is we're hitting this from multi-directions. And we're bringing our people in when it's safe and appropriate so they can do their job. And they backed off when they couldn't do their job. And so I'm not an argumentative person that much, but I do want to try to give you that information to say that there is, without hesitation, in my judgment, a strong urgency from anyone that I have been working with on this issue within the borough.
I appreciate that. Well, it's at a point now where, because someone calls up and reports the rodents there, you get threatened.
Well,
You have
that's
people intimidating 85-year-old woman sitting on their porch for calling the borough and reporting rats. I mean, something bad's going to happen there.
No, I understand that fully, and I have been in communication with our law enforcement people in particular. I'm telling you I have been.
Okay. So have I. So have I.
Well, the issue is that, and I've explained this to your wife, and I, again, don't want to be argumentative, but anybody who has a conflict with their neighbor can call up the police department, and the police department will go out there.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what they did.
That's what they did.
They didn't even get an ID off the gentleman who threatened my life. Threatened my life and threatened my wife's life.
I'd like to take this offline as opposed to a public meeting, but I'll tell you the following. I did meet with principal within the department. I went through the discussion. He went back, and apparently they have these cameras. He went back and he reviewed the, I don't know what it is, pictures?
The incident, yes, the incident.
Whatever it was that was captured on however it was. And his conclusion is that the person who made the threat was addressed. He got the name, he got the address, and there was nothing further until your wife filed a report, and those things have occurred. If things continue to occur, I ask anyone on your block or in your neighborhood to please call the police, because that's not a civil. I can move as hard as I can on a civil matter, but that is on what I would say, I wouldn't say criminal, but what would be the right word? Criminal.
Threatening a life is a crime.
I understand that, I understand that. But in essence, that's a matter of calling the police. And I did get a complaint on that. I did go and meet those people, but the police follow what they have to follow through the advice of whoever their attorneys are, or however that works. And I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but anyone in your neighborhood who has any words from any property owner of any basis should be calling up, and the police will be dispatched there.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just trying to tell you
I
that
understand.
this is a priority.
Okay,
Thank you.
can I just say, something? With the scope of the area. I know other people are waiting on traps, I guess. Ian, is it possible to talk to the Humphreys and find out when they're
That's what he's
gonna...
gonna do tomorrow. They were
They're
supposed to
gonna
do
give
it
a date
today.
of when they're going to
Yeah.
additional houses? So these ladies can know, you know...
Tomorrow
when-
morning.
When you say additional houses, they're not going to additional houses.
Well, other people are saying that they have them in their backyard, so I
For
assume they're based
instance,
on their
for
backyard.
instance,
That's right, but I don't think, we're not going on other property.
Well, maybe you have to.
Why
Well, I'm
not?
saying
Why
some people
not, Dan?
would, well, I think some people would appreciate it if you did.
Yes,
Yeah,
Thank
you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, we would.
That's a different policy.
They should do a survey and find out where they need to put traps.
well, I think there what it comes down to is the following. all right? Is that,
He knows.
from what I read, and I may be wrong, but from what I read, is that the Humphreys gentleman said, or maybe you said, that they were going to expand the coverage, okay? And I do know that the source of the roads, okay? I think we need to understand fully from Humphreys, if we need to put traps outside of that, and I know Mr., I don't want to say, but I did receive communications, as you did, from one neighbor, and I'm sure that they would be favorable, and I know that you said that you would be favorable
Yeah,
too.
so...
So, in essence, what I would do is that, if that's what is necessary to control this, see, in my mind, you need to put the bait where they physically are now, and that's where they're most likely to eat it. If you put it out in these further areas, that's not where they're residing, but that's not my business, and I think tomorrow morning,
I'll
you
discuss it.
can speak to Mr. Humphreys, or however that works out. And then, if that's the case, I know that there are at least 3 people that I know of, not 4, and I would say, please give us your name and address, because this isn't time to be reluctant. This is, and I'm not saying you're reluctant, but this is, if the best way to handle this is to just put them on the property, then that's what we do. If you need to expand the coverage, which in my mind isn't, but I don't know the subject.
All right, well, I'll talk to Humphrey.
And we should do what we need to do, okay? Yes, ma'am. Sure.
My name is Joanne Mitchell, and I have the 2 properties between 401 and 415,
Yes.
and I have rats in my backyard now.
They're
Tonight,
traveling through?
yes, they're coming under the fence,
Yeah.
and they're about this long.
Yeah, mine are too.
The
They're
first
huge.
time I saw it tonight,
Yes,
okay, and I saw the Bushkill, Pennsylvania people,
yes.
it's like a joke with them. They don't have money to cut their grass, but he came home with a new car today,
Yes.
okay? I'm happy for him,
Well, all those things are emotionally difficult,
yes.
without question, all right? And in essence, we are doing our best to, as quickly as possible, resolve the entire situation with urgency, okay? I don't know why these people go there, but they have a right to go there, okay? The police have to live by rights, and by the same token, anytime there's a phone call, then they have an obligation to come out and to see what's going on and to follow up.
The night of the bulk pickup, the night before, I was putting out wood to the curb. The Bushkill, Pennsylvania, they're screaming rats out in the street. I'm afraid of them. I
You-
take care of an elderly
and-
mother. I'm
and-
afraid.
And you should call the police department on that.
I never see the police go around the block.
Well, I have, more recently, okay? But them going around the block is that, I couldn't tell you the number of miles in town, but the fact of the matter is, anytime you feel uncomfortable or threatened from anyone, you should be calling them. That's their job.
We have a finite number of officers, so if you do have an event, it always pays to give them a call and not wait for someone to come driving through the neighborhood.
Without
You know,
question.
they will respond, if they're obligated to respond, they will respond. So that's the best way to do it. You know, we have just a couple officers on a shift, they get tied up on accidents and this and that. That's just the reality of the numbers. But if you call, they will come.
They go charging from their house down to ours, like they're gonna do something.
I get it,
And then they turn around and go back.
I get it.
And I think you should call up and you should make that an issue, okay? Look, I'm not trying to suggest it's not a terrible situation. It is a terrible situation. But I am trying to suggest, to your husband's point, is there is an urgency, and we are pushing forward for a complete solution. Okay? And as I said to you some week ago or so, it's gonna get a little more difficult before it gets easier.
The rats are following the line, the white fence that's between the new development and us. There's a new white fence that,
Oh, okay, yes.
the rats are following the fence.
Yeah.
You can see where the holes are going under the fence now. It's gonna get to the new houses behind us. Yes.
The way I understand it, and again, it's not my area, is the purpose of the traps is that they eat the bait, and then they get thirsty and they run away, and then they die. Now, the problem is, that's gonna be really ugly.
Well, I was outside today when the exterminator came and I spoke with him too, and he said 415, which is a rental property, and right next to 413, they have like I don't know what you would call it, a retaining wall or a
Right.
stone thing, and there's rats in there now too.
Yeah, and the reality is that the issue is the
Not dead
extermination
rats,
has.
live rats.
What?
Not
They're
dead
live.
rats, live rats.
No, I understand, no, I understand,
Okay.
I understand. But the purpose of the bait is to poison the rodent, and then they're gonna go elsewhere.
Because the exterminator said he's gonna come once a week now, this is what he told me.
I don't know, but Dan's gonna speak to him tomorrow
Yes.
about expanding it.
And a health officer.
Oh, that would be very helpful, that would be very helpful.
And we need to get back in there, because when I spoke to Bobby Philomonte, who's our acting department, public works person, is that they know they need to get back in there, but they need to bait to work to get back in.
I don't blame those guys for not wanting to go there, I don't blame them one bit.
No, it's hard, it's a terrible situation.
It's terrible.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you, Jim.